All right, right.
hmm
Welcome everyone to the first Galaxy Hangout. Thank you for joining us. We are doing our top 10 movies of 2023. We've got four honorable mentions. We've got a top 10. It's split between me and Jonathan. Jonathan, if you've seen, he's been around the channel, but we're going to start incorporating him more into the channel. But honestly, thank y'all for joining our show, joining the Hangout. We can call it Hangout because I just wanted to be more relaxed feeling. We can talk about movies. We can have a live chat up. Like right now, I've got a live chat set where it should pop up. We had some issues at the beginning, but yeah, it pops in. Thank you very much. Um, and so, if you have any questions, leave a super chat in the question for questions. And we're also going to go through the live chat at the end anyway. But we're going to go through all the super chats, go through all the live chat, and should be a fun show. Honestly, I cannot wait. Jonathan, anything you want to say before we dive in?
I think this will be fun. I,
Yeah.
I think 2023 has a lot more promise than the last year as far as movies go.
Ooh, I would say this year's movie wise is going to be awesome. I think this year's movies is going to be such a interesting year. Honestly, I mean, we struggled with this list.
Yeah, the movies that you're about to see shifted and formed. We did not expect the list to be what it is. And even right now, we still go back and forth on quite a few of them.
Oh, our number one. I would not have picked our number one in a million years, but it just kind of works out. Like it was weird. It was a weird one.
I think number one has the most promise as far as possibility for the future.
Yeah. So everyone, if you would hit that like button, comment below if you're watching in the replay. Also talk in the live chat because we want to get to know everyone. And it's been a while. And also hit the subscribe if you haven't already. We're on a road to 200,000 by the end of the year, which I never or thought or believed that would ever happen. So, in saying that, Jonathan, what is our first honorable mention?
First honorable mention is going to be the Hunger Games spinoff. And uh, I think that while it does not make my top 10, I am excited for it because I read the original books and the spinoff, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and the character was just so intriguing. It was very Machiavellian, if you know what I mean.
So, let me ask you this: how big of a fan were you the original movie?
The original movies, I thought they did a fair job of adapting from the books. Uh, there are certain things that I would change. I thought the actors did fairly well. As a book reader, you're never going to be 100% satisfied with any movie adapted from a book. But if the actors in the sequel do as well as I'm talking about the actor that will be the young adaptation of President Snow, if he does half as well as the older actor did in the original series of movies, where every time the older actor or President Snow came in, those are the lines you remember. He had a presence; you could sense the tension. I think if the younger actor does half as well, then this movie will be popular.
Um, saying that, our next honorable mention is Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Wow, I cannot believe this is in my honorable mention. But the whole reason this movie is even in my honorable mentions is because of Bumblebee. Bumblebee was such a great movie, a great story. You see there that this one is not being directed by Michael Bay, which is such a positive. It's not even funny. Michael Bay is a great explosion technique director.
The best movie that Michael Bay was the adaptation from the true story of 13
Oh yeah.
He did a great job with that. He has actual friends in that field, so that made sense for him. But sci-fi movies, he tends to be
A little overboard
on the explosions. Yeah, um, Bumblebee was definitely the best takeaway from all the Transformers.
Oh yeah, like Bumblebee. Shoot, Bumblebee was such a good movie. I think the fact that the director for this one, I cannot remember the director's name. But he's done a lot of great movies, and I have hope for this one. I do. it's just an honorable mention because we don't know what's going to happen, and I'm very curious to see what they do with this.
From the trailer, though, I do appreciate the style. He seems to be bringing the Transformers back to their original look and appeal, which the older ones that Michael Bay did, they were
They were like throwing a bunch of scrap metal at a robot and said, "Here we go."
There was no way when they transformed that you could see how that actually happened. Whereas in the new one, you could actually see as it folded up.
Well, that's why I say I think this movie is actually being set in the 90s, which is set right after Bumblebee. So I'm curious to see what will happen. So, what is your next honorable mention?
My next honorable mention, and I would not have thought of this in 100 years, is actually Wonka. And it's not really the story so much as the actor. He has done such an incredible job in the movies. I'm curious to see his performance.
I've heard that that he is playing the early version of the original. What is his name?
The original Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
I cannot think of it at the moment, but that does bode well for the movie, though. That it's based off the original as opposed to the remake that happened years later.
I like Johnny Depp as Wonka. I don't know.
It was fine. It just doesn't have the cult appeal that the original does.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Johnny Depp was creepy. Let's be honest. Johnny Depp was creepy.
But this actor, he's done some interesting stuff. So I'm curious to see how he takes on this role and how it actually develops as time goes on. Because right now we don't know a lot. All we know is that he's playing Wonka and that it's the early years.
Yeah. So, in saying that, my next honorable mention, and I'm shocked that I don't have this in my top 10, but honestly, that top 10 was so good. Is the Marvels. I am very shocked to have this in my honorable mention, but I had to bring it up because I think this movie could be great. Not just because the first Captain Marvel had its problems. My issue with Captain Marvel, the first one, was it was so she didn't have her memory. So when you have a amnesia story, your audience is discovering who this person is with the person. So that person doesn't really have her characteristics and her personality. And you saw glimpses of it. Like, there were points within the movie where you saw flashbacks of them singing, and that's fine. It was fun moments, but that wasn't great. I would say.
Yeah, when you have an amnesia character, they kind of seem cold and distant, and we haven't had a lot of Captain Marvel since then. We've had a couple glimpses, and we haven't really gotten personality yet. So maybe this show will develop. I don't know. For me, the first Captain Marvel was it was okay. It wasn't my favorite of the Marvel movies. I'm excited to see where they go with it, at least.
The reason why I'm excited is Miss Marvel. Oh my goodness, that show! I loved Miss Marvel. I think that actress, that's playing Kamala Khan. Oh my goodness, she just brings such a levity. She's so fun. She's so likable. I mean, I loved her. I think she is so good. So in saying that, let's dive in the top 10. What is your first top 10, Jonathan?
My first top 10 is going to have to be Oppenheimer.
Nope. You got John Wick.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my first of the top 10 is John Wick. I'm a fan of the previous movies. They're just good action flicks. I don't see this one doing badly. I like movies. Sometimes I like movies with a little bit more depth. Sometimes I just want to go in there, go kind of blank and see the action. And John Wick has an interesting story beyond the actual initial, guns action. It actually sets up an interesting world of underground mafia. They have the 5 families, everything that's involved. I'm actually excited for it.
I think here's I'm gonna be honest. I've not seen the other John Wick movies. I want to. I really do. I mean, they're great movies, and they're. I mean that it's not. It's not that like I think they're bad because they're not. They're awesome. It's just they just been movies I've just missed. I don't know. I've somehow missed them and haven't had a chance to watch them, but I plan to give it a try.
They're good action movies. It's good escapism. It's what you and I talk about behind the camera a lot. That we just want movies to where we can go in there, have a good time. A movie doesn't have to be deep. It's a bonus if it is deep.
Oh yeah.
But just something that is pure, and that's what this is. It's a pure action
So, and saying that, I gotta go with the number 9, and the number 9 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium. This movie, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it's so low on the list.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have to put it in a top 5, but then it just kept getting lower, and
I don't know why. I think it's because I really like the Ant-Man character. I know this is setting up so much for Marvel, but I think honestly I'm needing Marvel to blow me away. I don't think this year was a bad year for Marvel, I would say. I think that Phase 4 was probably the weakest phase for Marvel, just because we had 3 movies released this year, and only one of them I would rewatch. I think Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness was fine. It's not a bad movie. It's fine, but it should be great, but it's just fine. And then Thor: Love and Thunder, there was points I loved the movie, and there's points I really didn't like. I felt like it focused so much more on the joke than the story, and you need both.
yeah. For Doctor Strange for me, set up expectations where it felt like it did for me in the trailer that I didn't get. It wasn't the same story that I was expecting, and so maybe it's a fine story by itself, but it's just not what I felt that I was promised.
I don't disagree. And so that's why I say Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think that's the next really big movie coming out this year. I think it's got so much to look forward to. The fact you bring in Kang.
Yes.
And Kang's going to be so massive in this movie. I don't know what he's bringing to the movie, but it doesn't matter because I cannot wait to see what happens.
The actor who is playing Kang looks to be doing a good job in the trailer.
He looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just awesome.
He has that intimidating figure that you want as your villain. And let's be honest, it's been a while since I've had a Marvel villain that I actually want to feel intimidated by.
Yeah. So, in saying that, what is our number 8?
Number 8 is...
It's Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Yeah, I watched these as a kid, and I'm a big history buff, as you well know, and these movies helped me get into that. Every historian, every history buff looks at themselves and thinks, hey, I want to be Indiana Jones. It's nothing like that, but still, these are fun movies. They incorporate history and then some more cult-like aspects. And after the last Indiana Jones, which...
that movie didn't happen.
Yeah, let's just say that didn't happen.
That movie didn't happen.
And I'm hoping... I have big expectations. I'm very happy to see Harrison Ford come back to the role. What... I kind of hope this is the last Indiana Jones. Just because I want this movie to redo what happened in the last one. And go back to the original trilogy. And I think this has the possibility of ending Indy's career and the whole Indiana franchise on a good note.
I don't think this ends the franchise. I think they will do things in the future with the franchise because it's a franchise. You don't end franchises.
You don't, but you should.
There is not a franchise that you. I don't know of many franchises that have ended, and you don't ever see them again. I don't think there has been a franchise.
I don't disagree, but I'm a plot guy, and plots traditionally, like books and everything else, should have a beginning, middle, end.
I know, but money doesn't end.
Yeah. Oh, let's just look at Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was great. Then
Yeah, once again, that one didn't end. I mean, it's franchises just don't end. So, in saying that, talking about a franchise that will never end, but also I cannot wait for this movie, Flash.
Flash. Yeah, I'm excited for this one, even though, of course, there has been changes.
Drama, Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller.
Oh
No.
goodness. The drama surrounding that guy. Oh my goodness.
We will never see him again. At least not in this role.
But it's very interesting to see what happens to the DC. I'm hoping this leads into James Gunn's future because James Gunn is planning to change the DCU, which should be a good thing. We need a reboot. Even though I hate we're losing Henry Cavill, I am so sad by this.
Yeah, I am sad that we're losing some actors. I've heard that Jason Momoa may even reprise a different role in Lobo in the future, which I think that, personally, with his personality, that's a good fit. Yeah. But yeah, the DC has just been in a mess for a long time, and there needs to be a reordering, more structure, and plus this creates creates more momentum. We can have better stories. We could introduce in the future maybe a Batman, White Knight.
Oh yes.
Or Superman, Red Sun.
Red Sun.
Red Sun would be good, or All-Star Superman.
But in saying that, though, like when it comes to the Flash, I think I'm excited for the Flash, because honestly, I'm curious to see what happens in the future. Like, I'm really curious to see what DC does. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I've heard that the Flash is one of the best DC movies made.
I mean, the fact that they had all the drama and they were like, no, this movie is so good, we have to release it. That's saying something. That's saying that a movie is great. I cannot wait to see what they do. I mean, the fact there's multiple versions of the Flash coming in, the fact you're bringing in Michael Keaton for Batman, there's so much promise. But I just hope that there is a future. So, in saying that, our next one is Shazam.
Like we said, even though DC is restructuring, this one I feel is going to be a great movie. First Shazam was one of the best of the DC previous franchise. It was fun, it was lighthearted, but also had some serious moments within it. The actor who plays Shazam does a great job, as does the young Zachary Levi, as well as the young boy who plays Billy.
Here's my question: do you think they will end up having to? All right, here's a better question. All right. We talk about the fact that DC is needing a reboot. Do you bring Shazam's Zachary Levi into that reboot, or do you end up recasting to make the transition?
I think it's possible to bring Zachary Levi in. He is a fan favorite, and it would definitely be a crowd pleaser. Because here's the thing: unlike the rest of the ones that are so integrated and they so many mentions, the first Shazam, we never saw Superman's head.
No,
and technically, Black Adam was only mentioned in passing.
And technically, Black Adam wasn't. His name wasn't even mentioned. It was just basically a previous user or owner of the Shazam. Also, they actively did not connect Black Adam to Shazam because The Rock did not want to be a part of the Shazam universe. He wanted it to be Black Adam and Superman. That was his goal.
Yeah, Black Adam was treated more like an anti-hero. I mean, like a true anti-hero in the sense, not the anti-hero in the comic books where Black Adam just did whatever he wanted.
Yeah. So that's why I say, like, I feel Shazam could work, but the question is, you just got rid of Henry Cavill. Is it really fair to then bring in Zachary Levi if you're already going to recast Henry Cavill?
No, if they want to get rid of as much drama as possible. Because I'm a big fan of Henry Cavill, and I know everyone else is too. That the best thing for them to do, I suppose, uh, for marketing and just the future of the DC, is just to start completely over from scratch.
Sadly,
it's not what I want, but it's what needs to happen if the franchise is to have a future.
Yeah, that's the sad part. So let me fix them real quick. All right, and then so next, our number 5 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I'm very excited for this, even uh, even though I tend more towards live action than I do animation. The animation in the first one and this is just gorgeous.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean,
It's I'm glad. I was kind of skeptical when I heard they were going to do a time jump a little bit, but I think it works. I think the ages that they bring them in at is appropriate.
I mean, the fact that the entire Spider-Verse is going after Miles is so bad.
Yeah, we get to see all types of Spider-Man. We get to see Spider-Man 2099.
The Spider-Man animated show. Is
Ben Reilly's Spider-Man in there?
I can promise you he is. They had everyone. I mean, they were bringing in everyone into this movie. I just don't know what. I hope it doesn't get overshadowed. The story doesn't get overshadowed by all the Spider-Man with
it. Yeah. The other one did a good job at balancing. There were other Spider-Man across the universe, but it focused on the main Peter Parker and Miles.
Yeah.
And I think this one it'll focus on Gwen Stacy, Miles, and the older Peter will be in there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure he will be thrown.
2099 is going to be technically the villain.
Technically, which he's always been a bit darker anyway. Oh, yeah. So
well, this was supposed to be a part 1 and then a part 2. So I don't know what the next. So there will be a third one. I'm curious what this movie leads to and what the main villain is that going to be.
I'm not sure. I mean, if it was me, I would like to see the Superior Spider-Man somewhere.
Well, I know he's in one of the posters.
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe they're leading up to him in a third one.
Oh no, they would. Remember, even with Superior, Superior Spider-Man was basically if Doc Ock took over the body of Peter Parker, and basically Peter Parker dies, and so Doc Ock has his body. I don't see him as the main villain. I think he's an interesting character. I think the lessons you learn from him, but you don't throw him in and not really. I would not make him the main villain. I think you'll end up bringing in the Inheritors. I think that's what they're called. I think his name is like Marlon.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. Basically they're going around killing different Spider-Men. So I think that could be a Spider-Man the third one movie. I think right now the villain is named like Spot, which goes into like different multiverses and stuff. So
that could be interesting. My initial reaction was I thought maybe he was going to have to fight different versions of himself. 2099. I don't know. Be more of a lessons you learn from the other ones.
Maybe so. But in saying that, our number 4 is Dune Part 2. This is one that you really pushed for being at the top 5.
Yeah, because it's different. It's number 1 was cinematography, the overall look, the world that it creates with the families. It is gorgeous setup. But now that we're past setup, I expect part 2 will be just as good, and perhaps defy expectations. Because I know you thought it was too much setup.
No. My main problem with Dune was I got bored. I'm gonna be honest. I struggled with Dune Part 1. I think it was fine. It was a lot of setup. I didn't mind it. I did not mind it. I liked watching it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful cinematography. It's really, really slow, and I was getting very bored. And I know that's terrible.
Special for a Star Wars fan.
I know. Hey, Star Wars is not that slow.
No, I'm saying that Dune is technically one of the inspirations for Star Wars.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. I struggled with Dune. I really did. But in saying that, our number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the movie that is going to break my heart.
It's one I'm just so ecstatic for.
Especially after the Christmas special. That Christmas special was so good.
See, that's the way it's done, too. The Christmas special was good, but it also set up some things that had meaning. We now, beforehand, I really didn't care too much about Mantis, let's be honest.
Now we all love Mantis.
Yeah, now she's connected to the family, and her crying, and then Peter, I don't want to speculate because with these you never know who's going to die. And
I think Rocket's dead. I
think he is, but it's just the trailer, the things that he says. One less ride into the forever.
Rocket's dead.
And you also saw in the comic books, Rocket had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it appeared they showed him and the otter hugging. That was actually the girlfriend in the comic books.
Oh, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be something. So, in saying that, our number 2. This was Jonathan's number 2, and he really pushed hard for this one. Oppenheimer.
I am a big fan of history, but also, even if you don't know who an Oppenheimer is, if you don't know, or should I say, the full story of Oppenheimer behind the scenes, the director, Christopher Nolan, he just does things differently. It's all practical effects. There's no CGI. The explosions are real. They bring this to life. Plus, it's something I like sleeper picks. Franchises are fun for me, but this is a movie that is not based on a sequel. It's not a franchise. It's not connecting. It is a pure movie that stands alone. And just the cinematography that Nolan takes, and Cillian Murphy as an actor, who did a beautiful job in Peaky Blinders, I think he will knock this out of the park.
I could see it. I think I'm excited because Nolan. Nolan. I would say Nolan right now might be one of the main directors. And Cameron. I'd say Cameron too, but especially Nolan. Nolan's name sells a movie. You go to that movie not because of Oppenheimer. You go because it's Nolan.
Yeah, Nolan's name brings a feeling to mind. He does things differently. He has the pure film cinematography that we used to have all the time, but now it's kind of a rarity.
Yeah, and also, you don't really see directors like him or a Cameron or and we've seen it with Avatar. I mean, right now Avatar is like number 1 in the world and is making boogles of money. But here's the thing: the problem with Nolan, and I can say this with Nolan gets in his own way a lot of times.
Occasionally, yes.
And you've got to admit, right now he is probably on a lower end when it comes to the fans of his. The last movie, what was it?
What are you talking about? It wasn't Interstellar. It was the Tenet.
Tenet bothered a lot of people.
Tenet bothered even a lot of Nolan fans. I'll admit that. Tenet was not a good film by Nolan's standards.
Its sound was off badly. And that's something Nolan's got a problem with, is his sound.
Yeah, and I think he learned his lesson. The trailer that we have very little for Oppenheimer right now, I think it has the potential to be a great film. Nolan
gets in his own way. I mean, he really does.
He does, but his name, whatever you think of him, whatever you think of the stuff that he does, he is different. You will, even if you don't like the movie, when you go into a Nolan movie, you can say that it was something that you've never seen before. Also, this movie, the subject matter of Oppenheimer, nuclear explosion, whatever side you come down on this, you will come out of this movie having a discussion.
That's for sure. So, in saying that, let's show our number 1. And I can promise you, I never dreamed this would be my number 1. But Blue Beetle. So, this movie.
Did not expect this to be one at all.
I would never dream it would. But the reason why I go with this one as my number one is this one has the opportunity. It was originally going to be an HBO Max movie, but they said, no, this is so good, we have to release it on screens. I think the actor, Sholo, who is from Cobra Kai. Yep. Cobra Kai, he is so excellent. He is so good. And I think I've seen him in different interviews and seen him like interact with people.
He's very genuine.
Genuine. He's humble. You don't see an arrogance with him. He's just a genuinely good person. And so seeing someone succeed like that, and I want this movie to do well. Also, the character of Blue Beetle. I love the fact that it's almost like a mixture between like Spider-Man, a Venom. There's such...
And with the history of Blue Beetle, if they mention Ted Kord, even a Batman type character.
Oh yeah, and so you have so much working for this movie, and also the fact that it's a different nationality, which is really interesting. So we get to see his heritage and where he grew up, and like have just a different perspective.
Also, just the history of the Blue Beetle is just interesting, and this will be the first time Blue Beetle has been brought to screen. It's an original.
Not first time screen.
Well, not.
Do you know?
Oh yes, Smallville.
Smallville was the first time.
Yes.
Ooh, that suit. Oh man. Oh man.
I think I wiped that from my memory on purpose.
Oh, that suit. Oh, that was a bad suit.
And that comes from a fan of Smallville.
Ooh, that suit was. He was in one episode, and it looked like it was a prototype, like Iron Man suit / like it was so bulky and big.
It was almost as bad as the Red Tornado suit from Supergirl.
I found some enjoyment out of that suit, kind of, sort of.
They could have done better. Let's be honest.
That's a word for it.
But yeah, I think this movie. Also, we're not sure what franchise Blue Beetle represents. Does it represent the past DC, or is it a new film that's going to be in the new DC?
Personally, I'm really hoping for this one. I think you put this in the new DC because you can't. You can't. It's not established anywhere else. You could still have the opportunity. I think of any of them. I think this movie could be it. Also, I think the actor works for Blue Beetle so well. I think the movie's gonna be good.
Has a chance to bring in characters that the audience isn't familiar with and make them popular. Like Guardians of the Galaxy. No one knew who Guardians of the Galaxy was before the first movie. As far as a wide audience, comic book readers did, but they brought characters and made a raccoon and a tree the most delightful characters in a film.
Exactly. So, in saying that, we just went through our top 10. Let's go through them again. So, our honorable mentions starting out is Hunger Games. One second, let me get this set. So, just getting all of them pulled up so it's a lot easier to go through. Alright, so our honorable mentions are Hunger Games, Transformers, Wonka, The Marvels, our top 10, John Wick, Ant-Man, Quantumanium, Indiana Jones, The Flash, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Dune Part 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Oppenheimer number 2, and our number 1 is Blue Beetle. Wow, that was a list. That was a lot. But, you know, it's very interesting. I would have not, if I had went into this before, I would have never dreamed that would have been our list. I never would have dreamed that. Never would have dreamed it.
No, but it gives me a lot of hope for this new year. I think there's going to be quite a few good films. And we may be wrong. Some of them may be flops. Some of them may be winners. We don't know. But the thing is, in comparison to the previous couple years, this year seems to have at least a plan for the movies.
So, in saying that, everyone who is watching in the live chat, go ahead and hit that like button. Comment in the live chat real quick, because we're going to go through the live chat real quick and say hi to y'all. I don't think there's much conversation right now, but we'll go ahead and talk about it. And so, let me bring up the live chat. Wrong one. Live chat. Um, is right now from Lux Hyundai. Hi. Vital. Jeremy Renner. Um, love how Kinsey and Casey. Hello. Derby 101st. Hi. I have top 5 and honorable mentions. Go ahead and put them in the live chat. I'm kind of curious what yours are. If you're gonna put them out there, put them out there. We don't have too much in the live chat right now, but that's okay. We're still trying to grow this out. Mm-hmm. Everyone, thank y'all honestly for watching this channel. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. We have loved this journey that we have been on. We're gonna try and do more of these Galaxy Hangouts. They're gonna be more random. I'm gonna try and like lean towards Mondays, but there might be other days we can do them other than just Mondays. I'd like to kind of get it more organized and out, but this is the first time we did it. Mia Lane, hi Mia. And yeah, it was a fun one. Everyone, if you would, if you haven't checked out the full video, go check out our top 10. And yeah, I think we will be ending the show. Thank y'all, everyone, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you're watching on the replay, please comment your top 10 because I'd like to, honestly, I want to hear your top 10. So put them in the comments below. So, in saying that, I've been Luke.
I'm Jonathan.
I'll see y'all later.